Segment Sheva, Nikud Shalosh, Nikud Beit. Snapshot of sample Nifal verbs, the Katal conjugation. Here we will display 3 different verbs instead of just one. We'll begin with the usual paradigm verb shamar, and then move to 2 more common Nifal verbs, lacham and shava. First then, shamar. Nishmarti, nishmarti. Nishmarta, nishmarta. Nishmart, nishmart. Nishmar, nishmar. Nishmara, nishmara. Nishmaranu, nishmaranu. Nishmartem, nishmartem. Nishmarten, nishmarten. Nishmaru, nishmaru. And now the Nifal for lacham. Nilchamti, nilchamti. Nilchamta, nilchamta. Nilchamt, nilchamt. Nilcham, nilcham. Nilchama, nilchama. Nilchamnu, nilchamnu. Nilchamtem, nilchamtem. Nilchamten, nilchamten. Nilchamu, nilchamu. And now the Nifal for shava. Nishbati, nishbati. Nishbata, nishbata. Nishba'at, nishba'at. Nishba, nishba. Nishba'a, nishba'a. Nishbatnu, nishbatnu. Nishbatem, nishbatem. Nishbaten, nishbaten. Nishba'u, nishba'u. As observed towards the bottom of these verb tables, it may have occurred to you that a Nifal form is not the only situation where a nun prefix may appear at the front of a verb. In fact, any Yiktol verb meaning we will may also begin with a nun. We'll turn now to the appendix to learn a bit more about distinguishing between these potentially confusing spellings. Here's the appendix portion corresponding to Sheva Nikud Shalosh Nikud Beit. Notice the words nishmar and nishmor. In one instance, the prefix nun stems from the Nifal. In the other, the nun stems from the pronominal prefix we will. It will be the theme vowel that will help us tell these 2 forms apart. What follows may be summarized in these 2 steps. First, we'll learn to use the theme vowel to identify the correct binyan, whether kal or nifal, and the correct conjugation, whether katal or yiktol. Next, we'll account for the prefix nun according to the proper conjugation. If it is a kal binyan of the yiktol conjugation, then that nun prefix will indicate we will, first common plural, pronominal subject. If, on the other hand, we find that the word in question is of the Nifal binyan, katal conjugation, then the nun prefix will indicate he as the pronominal subject, followed by the past tense of whatever is the appropriate Nifal meaning. Look over the paragraphs that follow in order to understand this process of identification a little more thoroughly. Keep in mind that you'll need to adjust to whatever is the characteristic theme vowel for the shoresh you're dealing with, whether in the Nifal Katal form or the Kal Yiktol form. We're briefly returning here to the textbook portion proper to point out that certain initial letters, among them nun, yod, or gutturals aleph or ayin, will make adjustments when combined with the initial nun, which is introduced by the Nifal binyan. This is going to be explained a bit more as we resume with the appendix entry that we were studying earlier. Here we have returned to the appendix portion for the same segment, Sheva Nikud Shalosh Nikud Beit, and we'll introduce several more verbs to show what happens in the Nifal binyan when the initial letter is something such as a nun or a yod. We'll begin with the verb natan, nitati, nitati, nitata, nitata, nitat, nitat, nitan, nitan, nitana, nitana, nitanu, nitanu, nitatem, nitatem, nitaten, nitaten, nitanu, nitanu, and yada, nodati, nodati, nodata, nodata, nodaat, nodaat, noda, 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 nodatnu, nodatnu, nodatem, nodatem, nodaten, nodaten, noda'u, noda'u. Now for a first aleph verb, amar, ne'emarti, ne'emarti, ne'emarta, ne'emarta, ne'emart, ne'emart, ne'emar, ne'emar, ne'emra, ne'emra, ne'emarnu, ne'emarnu, ne'emartem, ne'emartem, ne'emarten, ne'emarten, ne'emru, ne'emru. And now for a third yod-he verb, asa, naaseti, naaseti, naaseta, naaseta, naaset, naaset, naasa, naasa, ne'esta, ne'esta, naasenu, naasenu, naasetem, naasetem, naaseten, naaseten, naasu, naasu. Here's another third yod-he verb, bana, nivneti, nivneti, nivneta, nivneta, nivnate, nivnate, nivna, nivna, nivnata, nivnata, nivninu, nivninu, nivnetem, nivnetem, nivneten, nivneten, nivnu, nivnu. Returning to the main part of the textbook, you may find it helpful to glance at the summary of Nifal forms, which are shown in the verbal array for Nifal binyan. This is an array that's listed at the back of your textbook. As you take a look at this array, it will remind you that just as with the call binyan, so also a verb in the Nifal binyan may appear as a participle, as an infinitive, or as a finite form. In addition, there are other forms available. The command forms, which you will also find in the Nifal array, will be explained further in Unit 9. You do not need to concern yourself with them at this time.